Hi to all the lovely people, you all are once again most welcome to Tutorials Point. Well, we learned about all the power words which we can use in our CV, but what about those words which we should avoid using in our CV? And don't you really think it is really important to learn about them? Because unknowingly we might be using them in our CV and we might not even be aware the sort of effect which these words might have on the person who is reading your CV. Well, then what are we waiting for? Let's go ahead and learn about the words which you should never use in your resume or in your CV. Let's go ahead. Okay, now first and the foremost word which we are really tempted to use in our CV is result driven. Don't we love to portray this image of ours that I am a result driven person, or we are really result driven, but do you really think it is a good idea to present it? Well, you might want to think again, because not really, because see, you are saying this that you are result driven. Why do you think would the interviewer be impressed, or why do you think would the recruiter be impressed just by reading it out, unless there are some facts and figures which support your claim? So if you really want the recruiter to believe that you are actually result driven, well, and you want to use this word, well, then use it in a combination with some proof or some examples or some facts which show that you were the one who was responsible for driving the results all through the entire project or throughout the entire work that you did. So it is really important to back this result driven trait of yours with some proof, right? So if you are writing this word, well, then do mention some proof or do mention some example wherein you were the one who was responsible for driving the results all through, and you just made it possible. Well, definitely you would be result driven, but then it should be backed up with an evidence. So don't forget to use an evidence if you are using this word in your CV, or else don't use it at all. Okay, well, this is again a very common word which we get tempted to use, responsible for. I was responsible for training the interns, or I was responsible for for their good results, or I was responsible for improving their communication. So don't you think it is necessary? Well, I trained the interns as a part of my job role, or I drove through or I trained the agents as far as the communication aspect was concerned, or I trained them on the cultural aspect, or I gave them cultural training. Well, all these words, instead of, probably would put it forward in a more concise way. Instead of using this word responsible for, well, obviously it is your responsibility. Well, I know whatever you did in your previous job was a part of your role and responsibility. So instead of writing it or instead of repeating it again, you could directly put forward whatever role you did, or for that matter, you could also probably put your roles and responsibilities in, or you could pen down your roles and responsibilities in a point-wise manner, which would obviously make it much more snackable and much more easily comprehensible for the person who is going through your resume. So instead of using this, I was responsible for this, I was responsible for so and so thing, you might want to change the entire format. Highly qualified. Well, yes, I am highly qualified. Well, what would the person in front of you, what would make the person in front of you believe that you are highly qualified? Well, it is, again, it has to be backed up with a proof. So you need to show your degrees, or you need to show your qualification if you want that person to believe. So then in that case, if you are just straight away showcasing your degrees and your qualification, or any courses which you have done, or any rewards, anything which you, certificates or anything which you have, well, then in that case you don't need to use this word at all, because this would sort of would make you sound pompous or something, and you don't want to portray that. Well, you might want to directly show your qualifications instead of saying that, or instead of writing that I am highly qualified. Well, that makes more sense. Well, showing them proof makes more sense rather than putting it forward this way, wherein you are boasting about yourself or bragging about yourself that I'm highly qualified. Well, I have so and so degrees, or I graduated in so and so stream, or I graduated from so and so college, or I did my master's from so and so college or university, whatever you want to put it forward. But highly qualified without proof doesn't make any sense. Team player. Well, I am a team player. Don't you think that is an expectation? That is a normal thing. You are expected to be a team player if you want to be a part of an organization. It is normal. So it's just like a cook. For example, you hired a cook, or you were in the process of hiring a cook, and a cook comes to you and tells you, well, I cook really well. Well, that is what you're expected to do. Precisely, that is what your designation is. So you might want to probably delete this word team player. Doesn't sound as appropriate. It is something which is just, it is simply expected. You don't need to put it forward. You don't need to tell this thing that you're a team player, because this is not even something which they would even ask you, because this is a normal thing. This is not something out of the world that you need to mention in order to make your CV sort of much more glorified or something. You don't need to use it, because this is a normal expectation. Well, last but not the least, a very, very important word which we again get tempted to use is ambitious. But keep in your mind to not use this word. This does not portray the best form of you. Now, I'll give you an example and then you'll understand. Well, obviously, when you put forward or when you write it down in your CV that you're very ambitious, it sort of portrays that yes, you are very ambitious to earn money or designation, or to work with a big organization, which is why you're with them. But because you are very ambitious, you might as well switch from their organization again very, very quickly, and that would leave them in a tough situation. So you might want to avoid using this word, because it's not needed. It might put you in a tight spot. So avoid using this word ambitious, because this also might portray you as a person who would very quickly switch jobs just to fulfill your ambition. So be careful of this word whenever you are trying to write down your CV next time. And I'm sure all these words will really help you a lot to jot down or to design your CV in the most impactful manner, and would help you to avoid or eliminate certain mistakes which you unknowingly would be making in your CV. Well, I will see you again in the next video. Till that time, keep learning with Tutorials Point and Tutorix. Have a good day.